are gathered here today to talk about love and respect, but to talk about this trifling ass girl named Keke.
Whoa. You cannot do that. You cannot even start it like that.
Why not?
Why is she trifling?
She's disrespectful.
In your perspective?
Yes, she is. We can get into it though.
Well, let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
You can't call somebody trifling based off your own personal preferences, because that's really the only reason you're saying that.
Yeah, I was being facetious, but
for what?
Facetious.
Okay, because it was a little tongue twister when you said it.
No.
It was definitely given due diligence. What? Due diligence.
Why?
Go ahead.
Why are we doing this?
Go ahead.
All right. So when I saw the Instagram post from her baby father, I'm thinking he's a cornball.
Okay, why is he a cornball?
I feel like he was a cornball for putting her out there on social media as if like, you're a mom, why are you dressed like this? Like, I think that should have been a private conversation.
Well, before you get into that, let's talk about the actual premise of the whole circumstance, because the reason why it's even a topic of conversation, yes, is because he put it on social media. But why did you call the young lady trifling to begin with? Because yes. I feel like you're about to go on. Let me lay the foundation, okay? Let me lay the foundation, because this is... We even almost argued about this before we were doing the episode talking about it. So the premise of this conversation, an episode that we already had planned to do called Love and Respect, right? And of course, throughout the course of this past week, the whole situation with Keke Palmer, her baby father, comes out, right?
Yeah.
And the conversation has taken multiple turns. There's some individuals that are arguing in regards to her attire. There's some individuals that are arguing in regards to her closeness with Usher. There's some I should have said what she did. In the video that is being surfaced around why her baby father said what he said, which is what Malcolm just said. Basically, she's at the Usher concert. Usher comes to serenade her, as he has done many celebrities, but I won't get into that yet. And she dances with him, and then she turns around and shows her attire. In this attire, right, it is what one would call revealing. Her butt is out, right? But she looked cute though. It was a cute outfit. But there are many arguments around her attire and her activity, right? There are people that are arguing in regards to what her attire looked like. There are people that are arguing around her closeness with Usher being considered flirtatious. Then there's people that her baby father's actual comment, which is what you were about to get into, was that you're a mom. And so there's so many different arguments around, was Keke right? Was her baby father wrong? Was he right? Who's in the right? Who's in the wrong? And I feel like this conversation for us has sparked up 100 different conversations. We literally were arguing together. We were arguing in this group chat. There's been so many conversations. We've been having conversations around this situation for literally days. And so I wanted to lay that foundation before we actually get into it, because, obviously most people probably saw it, but if you didn't, and if you're listening to this in 10 years, right, we want to make sure that you know what was happening in 2023, the summer of 2023, after Keke had that baby.
And for people to know that we're going somewhere with this, because this is a depiction and an example of how miscommunication can be in a relationship, where you can feel one way and your partner could feel a whole opposite way.
Yes, like we're definitely going somewhere with this, but it was interesting that this whole thing happened at the time that we were preparing to do this episode around. Like, it was the perfect thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so back to what you're saying, right? So Give us, I asked this question already, but now you can actually answer it because we've laid this foundation. We talked about the purpose, but what actually is your issue with Keke, and why would you call her trifling to start the show off? Sorry, Keke. We love you. Keke.
Oh man. All right, so let's break this down.
Yes.
Now this is my opinion and my suspicions
Okay.
from what I see.
Uh-huh.
She goes to the Usher concert. She goes out with her girls, whatever it is. Girls' night out, right?
Yes.
That's where they go wild anyway.
Not true.
Okay. She goes out with her girls.
Mm-hmm.
She has on an outfit that one would say is revealing, right?
Okay.
And that her baby father, I don't know, boyfriend, whatever it is, their relationship is, he obviously feels like this is too much.
Okay.
But yet, she still goes out in this outfit. And then not only does she go out in an outfit that is deeming inappropriate in his eyes for, for the representation of him in their relationship, she then flirts with Usher and ends up on TMZ, Shade Room, everywhere else where they can see your whole ass.
Here's the thing about that. Like, okay, so I think it's important to talk about this because if you've seen any other female celebrity that has gone to his show, he has done this to more people than Keke Palmer. Like, and so that's my issue. My issue with that argument alone, and everybody saying, oh, she was flirting with Usher, and why would you be dancing with her? It was people that were saying she was twerking with him. I'm like, she never twerked on him. They slow dance. He serenaded her. They sang together. And he's done that to multiple women celebrities that are both in relationships, that are married, etc. at his show. He's a performer. He is putting on a show. Because if she was a regular, degular, schmegular, he did the same thing, your friend might end up on the Shade Room too, just because Usher did the same thing. And so this is not the first female celebrity that has been serenaded by him. It's not the first one that ended up on Shade Room. That's how I know this. Mm-hmm. And so I don't feel like it's proper to say she was flirting with him when, one, she also is an entertainer. You understand this business, and it's putting on a show. Like, he's putting on a show.
It's not her show to put on.
Yes, but he picked her to put a show on with. And so therefore you got to play the part. Like, y'all wanted her to stand there like a nun and just, what they say on tip, what is this? Y'all wanted her to stand there and snap?
It wasn't, see, his issue wasn't initially Usher. Usher just put gasoline. He literally threw fire. He threw gasoline on the fire that was already burning, because he obviously was already upset with what she had on, what she went out, into the world with, looking available, which men do not want their women to look available when you're not.
So I want you to talk about the in between the lines, because when you said that to me, my first response to you was like, that's not even what he said though. He had no problem with Usher. He had no problem with what she did with Usher. Y'all had a problem with that. People had a problem with that. Niggas had a problem with that. But her man himself did not say that in particular. What he said was, it's the outfit for me. You're a mom, not you got a man at home. Like, cause what you're saying is she was being disrespectful to her relationship that we are alleging she's actually in, not just her baby father, right? But you're saying that in regards to how you would feel if it was me. And I don't think that's fair when his actual comment was, it's the outfit, you're a mom. I feel disrespected as a mother when I understand postpartum, like the get back to who you are as a person, and the sense of confidence that she was showing in herself and being willing to even dress like that. Why? Because her stomach might not be the flattest. She still might be body conscious in regards to just having had a baby. And so for you to say that you're a mom, he's going to get dragged by women everywhere simply for the fact that that's what you said. But that's not the argument that men are having. Men are having arguments around her being in a relationship, her looking available and stuff that you said. So I feel like it is proper for me to ask you to explain what's in between the lines, right? Because you're saying Usher was just a little extra gasoline on the fire that was already there. What's the in between the line parts of, like, what you as a married man, if it wasn't Keke Palmer, it's not her baby father, we're having this conversation, it's you and I, what is it that is your actual issue? Because you're telling me, and you have told our friends, that his issue wasn't with her outfit. I mean, her issue wasn't with really just Usher. It was with her outfit, but this is why.
Yeah,
That's what I want you to answer.
When a man has a child by a woman, that woman is now, especially if it's his woman, she's now put on a pedestal that is so near and dear to him that it's like this woman, in my eyes, can't do no wrong, or she shouldn't do no wrong in my eyes, right? To the point where she's put on such high regard that it's almost like this prized possession.
Mm-hmm.
Not to call a woman a possession, but this is what he see. This is what he see.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, this is my pride and joy, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
This woman gave me my child. She's everything to me. She, in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
I think when he said "you're a mom" comment, it wasn't about what you're saying, and I understand. I completely understand where a woman would feel offended about what you mean. She a mom, like, because there is that postpartum aspect where you're trying to get back your sexy, and women feel like, well, I can't feel like I'm sexy anymore because I'm a mom and stuff like that. No, I think he's more so saying, what example are you setting for our children? And because hear me out. He's thinking of somebody's going to see this. Your child is going to see this further down the line. Somebody's going to see this is on the internet, so it's on there forever. Somebody's going to eventually see this. And what example are you setting for our child? And honestly, in a man's eyes, you are like, you're not a nun, but you're like this holy
You want
grail.
me to be.
No, you're like this holy grail that if we have a son, you're the first standard that he has to compare to. You know what I'm saying? Like,
But
any
this is the
woman
thing.
that
Like,
comes
and I
into his life
understand what you're
is
saying, but
compared
what you
to
have to understand is also like this is who she already was when he got with him. I mean, when she got with him. And so it's like you have this expectation, which I wonder if the expectation was communicated that this is what I want to see or this is what I would prefer or whatever. And I also, do feel a way about men feeling like they can dictate what a woman is wearing. Or we had a whole argument. When we were arguing in this group chat, I told him, Malk got mad at me one day for wanting to go to the pool in these shorts, which doesn't make sense to me in the sense of if I put on my bathing suit, it's actually worse than what I had on, right? But he goes, why would you wear those? Like, those are in the house shorts. And I'm like, what are you saying to me right now? Like,
because you wear those shorts for me in the house in order to arouse me. So now I see you going to a pool. What am I thinking now? Because you wear these shorts particularly for me.
I understand that. So, but then would you now you literally tried to then argue with me about a bathing suit, which is worse. If that's your argument, you know what I'm saying? It's like, so what am I now wearing to the pool? A muumuu? Like, I don't understand. What are you looking for? And when did it change? You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? I need a new bathing suit. Let's start with that because I'm definitely pregnant as Jack. It don't fit the same, whatever. And so I'm like, so this bathing suit that I had on the first time you got me pregnant is now I can't wear that to the pool. Do you need to be there? What is the thing? What are we doing? You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like women now feel a sense of he's trying to be controlling or my man is being controlling because you want me to look this way. Now, I also do feel like as a woman, my personal opinion is like I'm mindful of how I come across when I'm without you. It's different when I'm with you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because obviously I can't look available when I'm with somebody. You know what I'm saying? I am mindful personally when I'm not with you. Or like if I'm on a girl trip, blah, blah, blah. Like I'm not going to overdo it. Like I'm going to be cute. I'm going to be sexy. I'm going to feel my feel. But I'm also respectful of the fact that I got a man at home. I have a husband at home. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's just personal preference. But again, this is how she was before that. And there's a lot of argument going around in regards to the fact that he was the one posting videos of her clapping her ass in a leopard print outfit, putting her on social media. So it wasn't a problem then. You know what I mean? So now why is it a problem today?
What's her skin out in that leopard print?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because it can still, like at the end of the day, it's the same thing you said about the shorts. Like, oh, well, this is what you wear to arouse me. If that was something that he liked, it don't matter if it's leopard, one, and you're obviously showing her butt. You know what I'm saying? You're obviously showing her shaking her butt. So what is now the difference, right? Oh, because it's an open butt? Like, it doesn't make any sense for that to not, like, you can't switch up. And the problem that a lot of women are having is like, why are you switching up on her? Like, you weren't the one who also exposed her in this same light before. What's the real problem? When did you change?
I don't think it's a switch up.
It is a switch up for sure.
I think there's a limit to what he would be comfortable with. One, he was there present when she was doing that, right?
Because he did it. But go ahead.
But he was present. So him not being present is even one that's completely different than the scenario. You know what I'm saying? So that adds to the boundary being taken too far.
Mm-hmm.
And in the sense that for what you just said, you said mindfulness. I don't know if she was actually being mindful.
No, I also don't feel like she has to be mindful. Why? Because that's not her husband. This could be over tomorrow.
So when do we actually try to look and act like a wife then? Because I don't get that.
I feel like you look and act like a wife at all times if that's what you're looking for. One, do we know that she wants to be a wife? Do we know that? We don't know that. What if that's not her actual desire? Maybe she's fine in her position that she's playing. Maybe that's not her intent. Maybe that's not her desire. If it's not, then I can't say, well, why are you not acting like a wife if that's not what you want to do? But it's all about preference.
If we're looking in generalization,
there are plenty of men who are married who have no problem with their wives wearing cut off booty shorts wherever they go.
Yeah, iced tea.
Huh?
Iced tea and cocoa. She be tripping, but he don't care.
That's according to you. And that's the part that people have to, like, these are personal preferences. Well, what you're now saying is, I personally would not prefer for my wife to be dressed that way.
Yeah, but I'm not projecting because he obviously was upset. So he obviously feels the same way I feel. She took it to a whole nother level. He acknowledges it. Now the world's against him when we don't get here without her dressing the way she was dressing. And
the
she
truth of the matter is,
mindful.
We don't get here without his comment, because before his comment, there were already pictures of her in that outfit out on the internet, and nobody was having that same conversation.
He was burning.
But that's what you got to understand. Like, you don't, like, a lot of people want to blame her for the outfit. You are one of those people who want to say, oh, we don't get here without her being in the outfit. But granted, she had already been photographed and displayed, and photos was already online of her in this outfit, and that was not the conversation. The conversation doesn't change until he makes the comment that he makes, and it's because of where you made it. That's to me, that's corny as jacks. It was corny simply because you have this conversation with me privately. If this is a level of communication that we need to have, this is a conversation that needs to be had for us to establish your view on that. That might not even mean to say, like, just because I listen to what you have to say doesn't mean that I'm going to change it. That doesn't mean that's now going to be my prerogative, but I will be open to, like, because we're in a relationship, I'm willing to listen to you and hear you out and respect your thoughts. Whether that changes something for me, that's a different story. But I feel like, have that conversation with me in private. Text me, text my phone, call me when I leave, see me when I get home. Say we need to talk when we get home. But for you to put that in my place of business, because that's basically the equivalent to, she's an entertainer. She is an influencer. She's a person of impact. She has never been in the media for anything negative. She is a Keela in the bee to the day she died. Do you understand? And so you're literally, it's
Keela wear the outfit.
Oh my Christ. And this is your problem. Y'all wanted her to still be looking like a Keela in the bee with a t-shirt with a long sleeve under it. You know what I'm saying? With them glasses and them little Senegalese twists. But what you got to understand is, like, that's the equivalent to, like, back in those 90s movies when a woman would come to a man's job and, like, start wrecking shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like that. That was the equivalent of him doing this because, one, you're putting it out worldwide. This is no longer a private matter, which is why we're even having a podcast. I mean, we're not having a podcast talking about it. We're talking about it on the podcast, is because it has now become public knowledge, and it should have never been public knowledge how he felt about it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
That gives anybody reins to now have their opinions in the conversations around it and to discuss it amongst their family, their friends, or whoever on social media because of where you brought it. You brought this to my place of business at that, as an entertainer in the digital marketing world. If you're on TV, she's an artist, she's done all this different stuff. All of that stuff comes back down to digital marketing, comes back down to social media in 2023. And so for you to put that there is so trash, because you are coming into my place of business wreaking havoc.
Here's my problem with this. Is that men, I feel like, acknowledge and hold him accountable for the reaction, because he didn't have a response, he had a reaction. What I feel like is women are not holding her accountable for provoking the reaction.
How does she provoke it?
She provoked it by what she simply wore, because he did not feel comfortable with her wearing that, obviously.
I understand what you're saying.
But do you feel like she had respect for this man by doing what she did? Could you definitively say she has respect for this man?
I can't say, because I don't know.
You do know, because you see the reaction. You see he's upset. So based on the facts that you see, what is your judgment? Do she respect this man or does she not?
I don't think it has to do with her level of respect for him.
So what exactly would it be then?
Her preference of what she decided to wear.
Okay.
Like I said, it wouldn't be my outfit of choice, right?
Would you deem that outfit as disrespectful to our relationship?
Yes.
Okay.
To our relationship, though.
Okay. So would you agree that the same reaction that he had is the same reaction I would have? Obviously in private, but I would have the same reaction, correct?
Yeah, but we wouldn't be at reactive, because I wouldn't have. I've already. This is the part that y'all are missing, because me and my friend said this to the guys 100 times and they have missed us saying it. Is that we've all acknowledged that would not be our outfit of choice.
Yeah, but y'all not acknowledging that she was wrong first.
What is she wrong? Like the wrong first part. This is the problem that we have. Our argument is that you want her to be wrong first to make his actions okay.
No, I don't make his actions okay.
I understand that, right? But you're saying like she was wrong first. She was wrong first. Nah, but it was all her fault because she was wrong first. And it's like, that's not the point. The problem is a multitude of things. You cannot base your projections on our relationship, your preferences for me as your woman, on what that girl should have worn. And that's where what you're calling lack of accountability is us saying, I can't fault her for what she wore, even if it's not my preference. I can't say. Women wear that stuff all the time. That's how you dress. That's how you dress. Nobody said nothing about like when Sierra came out and Russell Wilson didn't say nothing. So was she disrespectful to her husband too? Because he was right there next to her.
He didn't say anything, but this man said something. So how can you not tell this woman she was being disrespectful to her man if her man obviously did not enjoy the view? How can y'all sit here and say that she was not wrong when the reaction is what y'all know the reaction to be? We're not speculating his reaction. We're not. We obviously see that he felt disrespected. And we obviously see she did not give a damn. Because she did, from my perspective, he saw her before she left. They ran into each other before these pictures came out.
Okay.
He probably had an uproar then. He probably said his piece then. She said, F you nigga, I'm still gonna go.
So do you feel it is okay for a man to control what women wear?
No, I don't feel like it's okay to control. What I do feel like men are desiring is consideration. They're desiring consideration.
So what is a consideration for you look like? Because you've now called it disrespectful. So what is respectful attire?
Yes, when you don't consider, you're toting the line of I'm disrespecting him and the relationship because he doesn't agree with this boundary and I'm willing to test it. Is that not a form of disrespect to him? Is it not? Because
what is consideration for clothing?
The consideration is, okay, my ass is out. Would my husband or would my man feel comfortable with me going out by myself dressed like this? Now we get to ask myself. Now I get to look the man in the mirror and I get to hold myself accountable right now because I'm checking myself. He's not checking me. I'm checking myself because I respect my relationship with him. I respect his boundaries and I respect his opinion. Now, if the answer is he'd be all right,
But okay, before you
I'm gonna
say
do
that,
me.
this is still contingent upon your personal preference because there are men who are in relationships, there are men who are married that like when their women dress like that.
Correct. He doesn't.
Okay, so but you
That's the
cannot
fact.
even though he does not, you cannot categorize this whole situation and women everywhere and her outfit as overall disrespectful to men when you're saying to that man, yes, but you're also still categorizing and generalizing women. You're now saying we didn't hold her accountable. But
Yes.
what about I understand what you're saying, but what about the women who have a man who doesn't see that as an issue? Is she now still wrong first?
No, because her man does not care. He didn't voice his opinion
Don't say
about
he
it.
does not care. Say that it's not a problem for him.
It's not. It's not a problem for him.
But you
And he
can't say he
voiced
doesn't
that.
care.
But he didn't voice the problem. My thing is, if a problem is voiced, when did you check your girl?
But you don't know that he voiced it. You're speculating that.
It's on social media. He voiced it.
Yes, but he voiced it post. Like, you know what I'm saying? You're saying it as if they had we don't know this and we don't know what the conversation was ahead of time. What you have to understand is like, because we have no knowledge of what happened before she left that house, that you can only assume that that's what happened beforehand. He acknowledged it on social media.
I understand. Yep.
And so at that point, even if she wanted to, she can't effing change it. You know what I'm saying? So like I get what you're saying. You're saying that he was disgruntled. You're saying that he felt disrespected. You're saying that at this point he acknowledged it, he communicated that. But you communicated it to me because let's say, like I said, because we don't know, we have to assume that that was the first time he said something because we don't know. That's when we found out about it. That's when we found out he said something. So let's treat it as if they never saw each other. That was the first time he saw this, or the pictures online. Blah blah blah. When he made that comment, no, what is she supposed to? She got a clothes in her bag. She got clothes in the car. I'm pretty sure she didn't drive there. She probably had a driver. So you have to also consider these things. Even if that's your point of communication, what is she supposed to do now?
So I'm seeing this as an exemplatory thing, and I'm saying if you're the friend of somebody like Keke, because somebody is dealing with the same kind of thing.
Okay.
Somebody has dealt with the same kind of thing. If you're the friend of somebody like Keke and they had this certain situation happen, and you hear the man's disgruntledness about her tire, about whatever it is, do you now check her?
As a friend,
Yes.
This is the type of friend I am. If I'm with, let's say my best friend, she was in the chat, right? Her and her husband. If I'm with her, she is the person that's going to tell you, I don't want people telling me how to dress ever, right? And she's also the person that say, I've picked outfits that somebody would deem disrespectful to me having a man at home, right? If I feel like personally, as my friend, that's not becoming of a wife or whatever the hell you want me to say, I'll say that. But at the end of the day, this is on you.
So you would hold her accountable.
I would hold her accountable, but that's based off of my standard of what I want to look like because I have a man at home.
Correct.
I cannot expect you to be me. I cannot expect you to adhere to that.
Right.
Your nigga might not have no problem with this.
But that's what I'm saying. If he does. Because he does. So if the example is her boyfriend or husband does have a problem, do you check your girl? Is your girl in the wrong? Did she disrespect their relationship?
If that is the case, don't fucking answer for me, bro. Like you can't answer for y'all. Me and Mark just had this argument.
I'm reading her face because she wants to say it, but you don't want to say it at the same time.
You want to answer for me. You ask me questions and you listen to respond. Malcolm Garrison listens to respond. He does not listen to hear or to understand or to comprehend. He listens to respond.
What?
What are you saying?
I asked you a question so you can answer.
So you're saying if my friend directly, I know that her husband has said to her more than once or prior to this moment that he feels like you have no regard for our relationship when you dress that way and she dresses that way, then yeah, I'm gonna call her out. Like, are you cool with this? Like, because I mean, this could also be the end of your relationship. Are you okay with that? But that's all, again, speculating that was communicated ahead of time. And at the end of the day, it's still to me a form of control.
Mm.
What you have to also realize, like within our relationship, some of the things that you deem as normal is me as a person,
Yeah,
which is
absolutely,
also
absolutely.
what you would consider now respectful or considerate of you. That's me before you,
Yeah,
without you.
correct.
In regard to, without like you are of none of that is how I consider you.
That's your character.
This
Yeah,
is my personality. This is my
yeah.
character. You didn't meet me that way. Why, that would be brand new on your account. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, it's like you have to look at the lens in which you're looking at life through. You're looking at life through the lens of this is how I met my wife. You're looking at your life or this situation through the lens of I feel like my wife is considerate of me because of how she carries herself, because of how she moves, because of how she goes out, blah blah blah. This is your consideration based off the lens that I gave you of who I already was before I met you.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to give yourself like what you prefer. That's why we're together, because I was already who you were looking for. And so what you have to understand too is like the view that you have isn't necessarily based off of what you created. This is based off who you selected, who was already what you wanted. That's a whole different view. You know what I'm saying? Because with or without you, if I was with somebody else, if I was married to another man, I would still be like this.
Mm-hmm.
So your consideration, for me, it's not consideration. For me, that's my character. I'm not being considerate of my relationship. That's like an afterthought, is being considerate of my relationship because of who I am as a person.
Mm-hmm.
And so I say that to say, like, you have to realize that the things that you're deeming as like the utmost, or my wife acts like this, or my wife moves like this because of me, is not a because of you thing.
No.
You are
I know who I married. Yeah,
you're an added factor to that. But like you said, you know who you married. And so this literally proves my point of what I said originally of this is who he had already been with.
Mm-hmm.
You can't switch up on her like that. To me, this is where I have an argument around that, because this been her before you, with you. You cannot now, because she's a mother, which is what you said. I don't give a damn what is in between the lines. Mm-hmm. What you put in black and white and what you put out to the world is because you are a mom. And now I'm like, bro, why are you switching up on me for that? You switching up on me because this is who I was before you. This is who I was with you. Now you're expecting, it's the same thing of women who go through, and you're taught purity, you're taught sexual purity, and you need to look this way, and you need to, be basically a nun and undesirable, and nobody should want you, and you need to fight off every temptation, but then you get married and you need to automatically turn the freak on. I've never done it before. You never told me to do that before. You didn't prepare me for that in any other time. And now magically I'm supposed to become this person overnight because my life has changed, because now I got a ring on, because now he's my husband and the Bible says and blah blah blah. But my whole life I was this other way, and now you expect me to just change overnight? That's not fair. To me, that's switching everything up. When people say that for women to women and all this stuff like that, it's like the same thing with men who cheat, like, and people who think if they get married, I'm just going to automatically stop. Mm-hmm. Why would you switch up on me now?
Right. So to that point,
do you agree with what I'm saying?
I agree. He knew who he was with, but I also don't agree with she just, because of her being, she is now what's the word? She's exempt from now being considerate.
I'm not saying she's exempt from being considerate.
But that's the example you gave, because now you're talking about like she's not capable of being considerate because this is how I've always been. So why now I have to change up? Well, people evolve, people get mature, people
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? They grow.
I agree.
And so why now can you not be considerate in this aspect of, yeah, I normally do this, but maybe this is maybe too far. Maybe I should dial this back, but in respect to him.
What you have to also look at is,
how's that not possible?
Who are her examples? Who is she around? Is she around wives that conduct themselves that way? Did she grow up in a household with a situation like that? Have you been taught that? Some of the things that I'm talking about are things that I was taught. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. There's things that I saw. I saw how my mom and my friends' moms and the moms that I've been around all my life, I've seen how they operate. So I've seen the consideration for a husband that does not have to be spoken of from him. I've never had a conversation with you about what you thought about my attire, right? Anytime I put something on, it's your favorite outfit all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? If the thing is thinging and I look like I'm looking how you want me to look, blah blah blah, it ain't never no, oh, why you wearing that out of town?
Mm-hmm.
No, because the first thing I'm doing if I'm out of town and I'm like, I got a dress on, is I'm sending my man, hey, take this picture of me so I can send it to my man. Why? Because I want you to know what's up. Not because I want your approval, not because I want you to look at me and say she is being so considerate of me as she is going out to the club with her friends with her ring on. The thing of the matter, the point of the matter is also like, it don't matter how considerate you are in life in general. Every time I go to the club with my ring on, with the band on, half pregnant, whatever you want to call it, I have been hit on by a man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna take the free drinks every time. Every time. We don't not do free here. Right? And I'm gonna call my husband and tell him I'm the ultimate wingman. Do I not tell you that all the time? I am the ultimate wingman. I am the reason why we got our dinner paid for. I am the reason why we got free drinks multiple times. Hey, that's just what it is. Is that inconsiderate? Am I being disrespectful to you?
In our relationship, it's not. But I have never voiced that it has been a problem.
But would it be a problem? Here we are. Is it a problem? Because the thing is, when I said it to you the first time, it was me being me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just, what am I lying for? Why would I go out to the club in Miami, spend days out there with my friends, going to a club and knowing that I'm going to be me about it, which is going to make sure that I'm not paying for drinks because that's a waste of my money,
mm-hmm.
and not tell you about it.
Right.
That's sneaky to me.
No, I just don't think, I've never voiced that that's an issue. You know what I'm saying?
But one might say, if they saw me out doing that, ain't you married? Don't you got a man at home? She disrespect. Like
they would have an argument for you. They would. But
if I now come home and say, but that's not a problem in my relationship. My husband has never felt no way about that. He's never at least voiced to me that this is a problem.
Right. And that's the thing that he can't say.
Yes, but it's when it was said. You don't know. You're assuming. You have a very big assumption and belief that they had this conversation before she left her.
I'm literally going to base off the facts.
Based off of what facts, bro?
The facts that he is mad and she because of what she wore. So if somebody came to her and say, you disrespected your man, they have a concrete evidence of why. And now she has to now live with that and be like, okay, did I or did I not disrespect this man?
But this is where he went wrong for real.
Okay.
Because who's to say that nobody checked her? That's assuming that nobody did. Who's to say that nobody called her out on that? The thing is, you said it to me. You said it to me in a very interpersonal. Whatever. You said it very in the not personal, in an unpersonal, not personal, no post person, whatever you want to say. It wasn't a personal way. You didn't direct that comment to me. Hell, you didn't even tag me.
Right.
This is like commenting under the shade room. You know what I'm saying? You didn't even mention me in the comment.
That's why. Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? And so it's like, even if they called me out, you didn't come to me with your concern. You didn't come to me with your feelings or nothing like that. And at the end of the day, I feel like if he felt disrespected, cool. Let's say it's valid. But can she now feel the same way because of how you even handled this? And now I'm in plenty of conversations that I wouldn't have been in had you not done that.
Well, maybe she didn't feel loved, and maybe he didn't feel respected.
Perhaps.
Which is why we wanted to dissect it or dissect this.
I feel like we just sat here and argued with each other for the last, how long it's been?
Whatever, minutes. No, I mean you have your opinion. I have my opinions, and I've shared them. I've shared them with our friends. The men tend to be on my side. Women tend to be on your side, and of course, it is what it is. I think we won't fully see eye to eye on it, but based on the book Love and Respect and what they were saying about it, we can see why each other may have differences about this.
No. We have differences as men and women. We know that. And in Love and Respect, it was talking about what women want. We want to feel loved, and what men want is to feel respected. And the man argument that I've seen 100 times is that she was being disrespectful to their relationship. But I often wonder, because we posed this in our group chat, we were talking about this when we were having this conversation yesterday, and I asked, what does respect look like to men? Because I think one of the issues that happens most in relationships is that men aren't as expressive as women, and that is y'all biggest downfall, is because what I need to know, you can't say the way that's going to make it make sense to me. Just saying is disrespectful. Just saying, she should know better, or, all those different things, or consideration. And so a woman's response typically to a man saying that is always, what is that for you? And the responses are always typically crickets, or the response is the same word, just respect me. And so,
you know why it's crickets? Because the second that this man expressed his discontent, or just expressed his emotion, period, he was deemed pretty much as a womanizer, a simp, irrational, controlling. As soon as he expressed how he actually felt, his honesty, he spoke his truth, women attacked it immediately. And this is how men now, they become silent, because if I say something, this is gonna be uproar. If I say something, she gonna be down my throat, her friends gonna be down my throat, whatever it is, I'm the bad guy if I express my true and utter, all feeling. But men don't get that grace that, you express yourself. Let's look at this internally. Let's dissect why you feel this way. It's more so now, like in his sense, when he expressed this, women now felt oppressed. They felt like they had this trauma to come to them. They had this trauma that he didn't create, but he got the back end of it.
But do you agree that it's due to the improper communication, like the improper ability to communicate? Because what you're saying is the untold version of what he was saying was all these different things. You listed multiple different things that had nothing. This was our argument that we had the first time, was like, but that ain't what he said. And what I just said proves that point, is that men don't effectively communicate what they want to say in a way that'll make sense to us. The other issue is you gave yourself the opportunity. You opened up this moment for everybody to attack you and have their opinions on that. The thing that I'm saying is that, I'm not, let's table Keke, right? And just in a general relationship, in our relationship, and in the relationships that are amongst us. Because it wasn't just married people in that chat. It's like single people that are mingling, single and ready to mingle. They don't know if they're ready to mingle. But what you got to understand is, like, if you table that conversation, you just talk about our direct friend group or our relationship in particular, right? Men typically don't have the proper verbiage to express to us what these things look like for us. I agree that typically men, or let me not say I agree because I've learned this. I don't agree with this because I knew this. I agree with this because I've learned this in my own marriage, is that men shut down because of what they expect the reaction to be to their thoughts. Yes?
Yeah.
Right. And so the thing is, had the conversation been had in private with us, I think there is a way for her or a woman to now extend grace to the conversation too. If you're, and this is also just me evolved, me at 30, going on 31, me now being married almost 5 years, being with you for 10, and doing deeper work than just being in the relationship and studying how to be better in a relationship, studying what it means to understand you as my husband, understand your thought processing. It allows me to now give you grace to speak your piece and share with me your thoughts of what I like, what I don't like, what respect looks like for me, what, and really respect boiling down to honoring who you are. And, even in this circumstance, it's like one of the questions that was posed in that chat that day was about from a guy. And he was like, because all the women are like, don't control me. Don't tell me how I can dress. Don't blah, blah, blah. And, one of the guys was like, so you're telling me that if your man was providing for you, right, you're gonna just, because of course the other conversation was about she the one bringing in the money, which obviously we assume, we don't know.
We assume, yeah, we really don't know.
Yeah,
she had
and
IRS
so
problems, so
Jesus Christ,
she did.
Okay, sorry, Keke. But basically saying like she's the breadwinner, right? And so now that's a part of the conversation of like, well, who are you and how much money you make and blah blah blah. And this is being one of the reasons why men feel disrespected, is because now it seems as though the respect you're giving me is conditional on what I can provide, what I bring into the household. And I remember yesterday, like having a conversation because, like I was saying, one of the things that the guy was saying, so you're telling me as long as he provide, you gonna make sure you cook clean, do all this stuff and listen to everything he say. And one of the girls responded and was like, yeah. I'm like, and then before anybody responded to her, yes, she said, but if I have to do as much as lift a finger to do anything or contribute financially, then no. Now, obviously, this is where communication comes in, and this is why written communication is the worst of them all.
Oh yeah.
Right? Because what she meant, what she wrote were two different things. I'm sure what he meant and what he wrote, two different things, maybe 10 different things. He's like, God, I'm pretty sure he looked back on it like, this is what I meant though. Like, this is what I should have said it this way. I'm sure he's had that 100 times with himself. But in that moment, because I am almost 5 years in, been with you for 10 and studied, I'm like, I can't agree with that, because that now means that this relationship is conditional. And from me saying that, you and I then had a conversation around what respect is for men. And you saying like, we already feel like y'all only want us for what we can do for you. But the minute the do for you is done, or the minute the do for you has changed, or my ability to do for you has changed, it's as if I don't deserve the same levels of respect that you were giving me as the man in your life,
right,
because of what I can't do for you.
Right.
And as somebody who's now, like I said, studied and wanted to learn more in the space of marriage and the space of honoring my husband or making you feel like the man that you are, it was like I was like, oh, you're crazy. And I can't get with that one, just because, I think it's important to make a man feel that level of respect, that I trust you regardless of your circumstance. It felt, it's like, how did we get away, or how do we get away from conditional relationships?
Yeah, I think this is really, really big right now, especially with millennials. That's particularly our audience, so to speak, and what we go through. Millennial marriages and people that are dating that are millennials. I think we have gotten away with unconditional love and unconditional. I don't know what to call it. It's more so like just being there. You know what I'm saying? Being there for somebody unconditionally. And we've put so many conditions on things that we've lost sight of what's really, really important. Because for this person to say, okay, if I have to contribute to something financially to this house, I will not do this, that, and the third, shows that this is not a partnership. This is not. I'm not looking for teamwork. I'm looking for give me this and I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And that's not what marriage should be. It shouldn't be like that.
Nah,
because
but again,
we're
you
talking about
also
life. We're talking about two people's lives.
and that's why I said what I said too, because that was literally my response of like marriage is a team sport. Like when you have to look at marriage like what did I say? I had a basketball reference. It was good. It was like from a marriage standpoint, like you have to look at it like just because you're on the bench right now doesn't mean that your skill sets are any less. If you look at like, let's talk about like the Lakers series with the Warriors.
Yeah.
Lonnie Walker Jr. or what is his name?
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah.
Lonnie Walker. Never heard of him. Me personally,
never heard
of him, but because of his skill set that he brought to the floor, they were able to win games that they were literally losing.
That they about to lose.
They were about to lose, right? But it was just because he had been benched, and apparently he was starting earlier in the season, and then the people who were he got benched because there were higher skill levels that they wanted on the floor. But it didn't take away from his skill set just because he wasn't in the game at that moment. And to me, that's what marriage is. Marriage is like, we're not both going to be up at the same time. We're not both going to be down at the same time. But is it your turn? Like we talked about this already. Like, is it your turn to take on the financial load? You have had the financial load. We have had the financial load collectively. And I have had the financial load within our relationship, within our marriage. And so it's like, whose turn is it? And treating it like, who's the superstar? Because at the end of the day, there has been, Draymond Green talked about this. He said when they were having the imbalance, obviously my husband watches a lot of podcasts that I just be around for, but
you be listening, obviously.
I do. I mean, they be saying intriguing stuff like you want to get beyond the basketball. Like the basketball isn't that great for me, but beyond the basketball is great. But what he was saying was they were having an imbalance on the floor. So like obviously him and Steph Curry, they play great together. But because of the imbalance on the floor with the second team, he had to get, go in with the other team. So it limited the amount of play time that he had with Steph Curry and their cohesion. But there was a need for us to continue the continuity of what we're trying to do in this game. I don't need you with him. Well, I know y'all are great, but I know y'all are great separate, and somebody has to carry this other side of the team as well. And so when I heard that, it reminded me of this as well. Like somebody's going to have to carry the team at some point. If you look at parenthood and embarking on kids and new kids and all that stuff like that, it's like, okay, I might not be able to carry this load right now. And it's like, I'm not going to like, oh, well, I can't cook because I'm pregnant. I can't cook because I'm paying. You know what I'm saying? I can't cook because I'm the one bringing the money right now. That's not necessarily, because it's like, I want to ensure that no matter what the circumstance is, you still feel like a man. I'm not I don't want to say that that's what was being said, but that's not what was being said. But it's like, it could be considered that way. It could be received that way.
Yeah, it could definitely be
that like, oh, you're not a man if you're not this. And I'm like, that's already like what men have consistently said. Like, and I remember what I said in the chat. I said to all my single women, if we are requiring as women, right? If as women we're requiring men to come to the table and be the providers, can we still have an issue when a man now says, I want to marry you, I want to propose to you, but I need to get my finances in order, and we hate that. And my response, when anybody said to me, I'm like, you can build with her, bro. You can grind with her. Y'all can do this together. Y'all are a partnership. Y'all about to be a team. Blah blah blah. But it's like, as I said, as women, we got to pick a side. We got to pick a side of, do I want to build with you for real, or do I want you to come with everything together? And if I want you to come with everything together, I can't be rushing you on the marriage thing when you tell me I'm trying to get my finances in order.
Yeah, you can't say I'm wasting your time at this point. Because you can't have, and that's the thing, we can't have everything at the same time. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what our issue is in today's society, is that we want everything how we want it. And that's not how life works. And when we talk about a marriage, we're talking about two people, two different lives. Life is a fucking roller coaster.
At all times.
You know what I'm saying? So if life is turbulent and you bring two turbulences together, how do you expect to just be flowing through with no hardship, with no oh, I gotta put something on my back in this season? Like, when do we lose this mentality of I got your back, you got my back? You know what I'm saying? When did we lose that? Because that's, if we're talking about building a life with somebody, that's exactly what we're talking about. We're talking about building an entire life. That takes years.
Nah, fact.
To build. And sometimes it takes months to lose. You know what I'm saying? Like it just is what it is. That's the ebbs and flows of life, and I feel like we're really really getting away from that. We're really getting away from being unconditional. Like, do we really honor the vows? Do we really honor the vows, or do we want to just look cute? Do we just want the ring? Do we just want the status? And I think in this sense, yeah, I mean, men are looking for respect. That's one of the number one needs men need. And I do agree, women probably feel unloved a lot of times, and that's when communication can get off, and you can feel this disrespect coming from her because she's operating in the sense of I'm not feeling loved in this moment. And we don't know how to communicate that with each other, because sometimes we'll say one thing but mean another. In this sense, most times we'll say one thing and mean something else. Where do we find that commonality of now understanding each other? You know what I'm saying? Like,
well,
how do we get to that point?
So the book that we were referencing called Love and Respect, what he was talking about is actually, because of course now you got the Bible thumpers in the chat. They're like, well, the Bible says y'all supposed to, and I'm like, oh God, here y'all go. But the thing is, he made it make sense of what they were saying, right? And so I'm gonna read the scripture. Ephesians 5 says, wives, be subject to your own husbands as a service to the Lord. This is the amplified version for those of you who are pulling up your scriptures. When you have it, say got it.
That's funny.
For the husband is the head of the wife, as Christ is the head of the church, himself being the savior of the body. But as the church is subject to Christ, also wives should be subject to their husbands in everything, respecting both their position as the protector and their responsibility God as the head of the house. Right? Now, all the men want to argue, well, the Lord said you're supposed to submit unto me all things at all times and respect me, woman. And it says, husbands, love your wives, seek the highest good for her, and surround her with caring, unselfish love, just as Christ also loved the church, and he gave himself up for her so that he may sanctify the church, having cleansed her, so that in turn he might present the church to himself in a glorious splendor. Even so, husbands should and are morally obligated to love their own wives as their own bodies. That's not the other part I wanted to read.
Okay.
And so basically the whole thing about like what the guy who was bringing this up, what he was saying was that a lot of people misinterpret this scripture. And one thing that I liked that he said was that from the respect aspect and the love aspect is that you're commanded to love me and I'm commanded to respect you. Why is that? He said, because women, it is in their nature to show love. That's who we are as people. You don't have to tell me to love you and to show love to you and to treat you with love. But you do have to tell me, command me to respect, because that's not my nature. For a man, it is in his nature to respect, because he desires respect. But it is not in your true nature to show love and affection and care and be loving to your wife or to your girl. You know what I'm saying? And so when we were looking at it, it was like love and respect is so, it actually has now become a misconstrued communication. It's a different language because we don't realize that we are speaking different languages and understanding. Well, it's only in the Bible, and the scripture that people keep throwing around is only actually in there because the parts of me that I'm not, I have to be told to do.
That's right.
But the part of us that we harp on is what the other person is supposed to do and not what I am supposed to do. And that's self-accountability. When you're now being accountable to yourself as to what God has commanded me to do, which is respect my husband, I need to now study what respect looks like. I need to ask him, what does respect look like? Now I want you to give your answer of what you said. Like when they were like, what, how do you
find it? Can you find it so I can read it?
Oh God, not verbatim.
Yeah, I need to be, because I was able to think through.
Oh man,
not too long, but I was able to think through like
this chat really, has so many things.
No, you just type it in the search bar. What women want, what men want, because that's why I titled it. I titled it, "This is what men want," and for ladies to take the notes, because this is what he's not telling you, but this is the absolute 100% truth.
All right, here you go.
And what I said was, consideration that typically exemplifies respect, admiration, which suggests edification, which in returns makes him feel respected. But he also wants to be honored in the sense of you trust his judgment and his word, which he will ultimately feel respected because of that. Then I went on to say, wanting to, which now brings him closer to you and makes him feel secure, another sign of respect. Oh, because he wants to feel wanted by you. So by him feeling wanted by you, he's now going to bring himself closer to you, what makes him feel more secure in y'all's relationship and for you, which also it brings him another sign of respect that you're respecting him. And then I went on to say, but he wants your understanding and respect of the battles he faces on a daily basis. Simply acknowledgement is enough of it. You know what I'm saying? Simply acknowledging this is going to fill his cup up with respect. You know what I'm saying? And then simply acknowledgement is enough. Then I said he wants to know his partner has his back in case of seasons changing. I want y'all to catch it, because I said in case seasons change, in this sense, women can show their respect by simply being a helpmate without reminding him of his shortcomings in that season. And then I said you can show respect by responding rather than reacting in the disagreements, because there is a big difference between the two. And I think a lot of women received that because it was a perspective that they never heard.
And it was articulated well.
Yeah.
That's the part that we're looking for, though.
Yeah, and I get that. And we do not do a good job of communicating that, but we have our reasons.
And that's understandable. But the thing is, even if you look at that, like the level of intimacy that you're looking for from a respect standpoint, love for us is closeness. Like when we're having conversations, are you intentional about touching me without wanting to have sex? You know what I'm saying? Like, are you intentional about,
It's very hard to do.
It's very hard to do. Yeah, that's
Jesus
your problem.
Christ, it's very hard.
We just can't cuddle this one time. Like,
jeez, man. What?
We can't cuddle this one time.
Lord made me this way.
But it's also that, like, the thing is, like, it's also the openness, like being able to have that conversation when I ask you, what does that look like? And being like, you already know. The Bible said, like, no, I want you to tell me what you need from me. The openness is what creates the level of respect. The closeness is what creates a level. That's what I need. That makes me feel loved, which in return gets you the level of respect that you're looking for. And the understanding, because oftentimes I think the issue is that because we're so expressive and it's easier for us to communicate our feelings and our thoughts and the way we want things and all like that. It's like we feel like we lack understanding in who you are as a person, to the things that you want, to the things that you desire. Due to lack of understanding, now there's a problem, and I don't feel you're not getting the respect that you want, because from a loving space, I don't even feel like I understand you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then it goes on to talk about peacemaking. That comes from the first three, which is closeness, openness, and understanding. Right. And then from that, you get the loyalty, and then you get, we want loyalty and we want esteem. It's like, I want to feel like you care about the things that like, we don't want to feel like we're rambling. We don't want to feel like we're just talking all over again. And, you know what I'm saying? Like, even though you're saying like, oh, we don't know what we're going to get. It's like, yeah, but I want you to want to know me too. Like, I want you to be interested in what I think is what, or what my mind says, or what I want. I don't want to have mindless conversations with somebody who's barely listening to me.
That's right.
And that's how you guys show love to us, so that you can in return get the admiration, like, if I don't know how you're feeling, if I don't feel like I understand you, then how can I understand you in your down season to have your back?
That's right.
If you're not vulnerable enough to say, babe, like, this is what I thought it would be, this is where I expect it to be, this is what it's not, I feel stuck, or whatever it is that you need to say. Or, hey, do you trust me? Like, I still have a plan, or this is what I want to do for us. Like, it's that stuff. I don't want you to have a secret meeting with yourself on this, I'm about to go get it to change my family's life. Like, I want to be included.
Intimacy for y'all?
Yes. Inclusion.
These are gems, man. These are gems.
Inclusion. Include me in your mind. Include me in your life. Like, I am your partner. Because if the roles were reversed, and I'm saying, like, if what's that 50 Cent song? Would you still love me? But if your season change, you don't have the money, and like you or somebody who's losing a job, like layoff culture right now, layoff culture is what we need to talk about, right? And there's people that's losing their jobs every day. So as your wife, do I not look to step up, right? Or and not make you feel any way about that? But I do need to know where are you with this? How does that make you feel?
Right.
I'm cool.
Yeah, I'm cool as a lot.
Like, give me more. You used to take walks, and I'm like, okay, what did you need from that? Like, what was troubling you so much that you needed to get out this house and walk to clear your mind?
Right.
Bring me in.
There's a lot going on, yeah.
Bring me in. But in turn, you get that respect that you're looking for, because that's what we want. We want to feel the love.
So do we have a life lesson from this episode? Because it was a very different
like
episode.
Those two things,
were
the respect and the love. I think that was the life lesson for me.
Yeah.
But communication is always, the bottom line of all this stuff. Self-awareness.
Yeah. Podcasts like this gives you the language to have this with any significant other that you have, you know what I'm saying? Or
and stop minding people's business. Which we did this whole episode.
We did, but I think we did it because it exemplifies so many relationships out here that
for sure.
People go through this every single day.
I think this whole situation has had people having conversations that they probably never have had before, and things are coming up where they're being able to discuss things that they never had before. So I hope y'all liked it. Sorry about this. You supposed to I was already talking, so like you're supposed to say something. But anyway, this has been another. That's your part.
No, look at you.
All right, this has been another episode of the So Let's Talk About a Podcast. I am your co-host,
and I'm Malcolm.
Oh, I didn't say my name. Our son is crying. I'm your co-host, Brittany, and you can follow me on all platforms at Brittany Donnell.
And I'm Malcolm. You can follow me at Malcolm_Garrison.
And don't forget to follow the show at So Let's Talk About It Pod on all platforms. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, don't forget to rate and review. And don't forget to join the listener lounge, because we definitely want to hear what y'all think about this episode. Go to soletstalkaboutitpod.com so that you can get connected and we can continue this conversation. And we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Peace.